Or that might be their screen. Okay. Happy Sunday to everyone in the viewing audience. Hope you all are well. Have a prosperous week. Please be safe. This commentary is pertaining to Mr. Gene and Betsy Hackman. His daughters, two of his daughters, have decided to hire a private investigator because they believe something suspicious happened to the father and assumingly the wife. There's information or some weird theory that this woman, Mrs. Hackman, was followed. She thought somebody was following her. Is this true? Is this was this just in the lady's imagination? Was she paranoid? Did she have any mental issues? Schizophrenia, dementia? You have to ask all those questions. Let's hear what Radar Online has to say, and then I will read you an article with the said information. Thank you for joining me. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $McAngie 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are welcome during the live stream. Hello, everybody.
Gene Hackman's daughters have enlisted a private investigator to uncover the circumstances surrounding their father's unexpected death, RadarOnline.com reports. The family is frustrated by the lack of clear answers amidst theories suggesting that the 95-year-old actor and his wife, may have been targeted for murder. Newly released body cam footage reveals that Arakawa's hairstylist, Christopher, noted that she appeared frazzled and worried about being followed by a mysterious man. Incidents in December seemed to alarm the couple, just 2 months before their deaths at their $3.3 million Santa Fe home. Elizabeth and Leslie Hackman have taken matters into their own hands, feeling that the authorities are not transparent. They have lost faith in the authorities. This doesn't add up. It feels like someone is trying to cover something up, and Gene's daughters will not rest until the truth is revealed, noted Hollywood insider Rob Shooter. According to Christopher, both Gene and Betsy expressed fears about being followed. He recounted, "She mentioned to me that there was a man that had parked outside of their gate and followed them on 2 separate occasions. Betsy confronted the man, telling him he needed to have more respect. On another occasion, he attempted to give him a bottle of wine. However, investigators believe the case may be less sinister. Following an exhaustive investigation, officials suggested that Betsy likely died on February 11th due to hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. She had been Gene's primary caretaker, and after her passing, he may have wandered aimlessly in confusion until his death on February 17th. The autopsy confirmed he had no food in his stomach, although he was hydrated, with heart medication found scattered nearby. Hackman's family remains frustrated by the lack of updates regarding Gene's toxicology and cell phone records, which are sealed. They suspect that crucial information is being withheld, with one insider stating, "There's a reason they brought in private eyes." They think this man who followed them may not
Let's go back to the health. Hold on 1 second.
Insider stating, "There's a reason they brought in private." They suspect that crucial information is being withheld, frustrated by the lack of updates regarding Gene's toxicology and cell phone records, which are sealed. They suspect that crucial information was in his stomach, although he was hydrated, with heart medication found scattered nearby.
Okay.
Hackman's family remains frustrated by the lack of updates regarding Gene's toxicology and cell phone records, which are sealed. They suspect that crucial information is being withheld, with one insider stating, "There's a reason they brought in private eyes." They think this man who followed them may not have been a fan, but something darker. The family is determined to uncover the truth behind the events leading to their deaths.
Darker like what? They didn't leave anybody in the will. 9 times out of 10, you're going to know this as a child. If you're left in a will, you all had some type of issues with your dad. I believe there's 3. The brother was contesting the will. So we're talking about 3 entities, 3 children. 2 now have hired private eyes, the 2 women you see on the screen. I did read that they rekindled a relationship, these daughters and the father. They did speak highly of the late Mrs. Betsy Hackman, that she was good for their father, the marriage. The father worked a lot, stayed gone a lot, filmed 3 to 4 months at a time. So perhaps this caused an issue. Over the years when he was married to their mother, don't really know, because the dead tells no tales. So this hairdresser who's giving information, is this where they're getting their information? Is from the hairdresser that Betsy thought someone was following her and Mr. Hackman. Did Mr. Hackman also believe that he was being followed. That's what we're hearing. Once again, this is hearsay, so you don't know what's the truth or not. Where I have the problem is that the autopsy has been performed. Now, naturally, people can use agents to poison you, and you'd have to know what to look for as a doctor toxicologist. So, were these people, I'm just going to go out on a limb, were they poisoned? Okay, what would be the motive for some stranger trying to poison these people? The only person I would see doing this is a family member to get at the money, the estate. But Mr. Hackman and his wife, they didn't want any money. They didn't leave their estate to anybody. And you would know this unless you're willing to fight it in court. And naturally, the court will probably give these kids an equal share of the estate because they are the next of kin. Rather, Mr. Hackman and his wife wanted these children to have the monies, property, cars, whatever. You usually get it. You're the next of kin. So we're talking about 3 adult children. I'm assuming they all will get a portion. They all go to court, take it to court, divide up the monies, the estate. But that's the only way I could see foul play. The children hired somebody to do something to the parents. But then you'd have to know your parents' schedule, security, if they have security or not, the person getting into the gated community. Because remember, this is a gated community. And allegedly, Mrs. Hackman approached some guy about following her, asking for respect. He tried to offer a bottle of wine, very weird. So some guy's just sitting at the gate waiting for this woman or Mr. Hackman to come out. Just sit there. So where's the security guy? So you have to ask all the questions. You always have to ask questions. This guy's sitting out here at the gate waiting for the Hackmans to just come down the road. Well, where's the security? He doesn't know that there's a strange car sitting there. He doesn't go over to the car to say, hey, what are you doing here? Who are you looking for? You can't be here. Make it make sense. Could it be this woman was just elderly and paranoid? Don't know. Did this situation even happen with the bottled wine incident? Don't know. This is just what was told to a hairdresser from Mrs. Hackman. Gene Hackman's daughters have hired a private investigator to uncover what they believe is the true cause of his shocking death, KNews.com can reveal. So basically, he was just saying his death is suspicious, but not hers. Make it make sense. Because the coroner has already given a ruling. They died a week apart. She died first. He died second. He had food in his body, hydrated, heart pills scattered, probably fell, knocked him over, whatever, fell out his hand. He died from not eating. And they mentioned that in the autopsy report. Heart condition. She died from the hantavirus. And I've explained that to you weeks ago what the hantavirus is. It's urine fecal matter from rodents. So that means not possibly, she did come in contact with the fecal matter, urine, obviously in her home, I'm assuming. Unless she went somewhere playing with rats. Just saying. Newly released body cam footage from deputies involved in the investigation shows Arakawa's hairstylist, Christopher, recalling how she seemed frazzled and worried that a mystery man was following her. The classical pianist was apparently frightened after 2 separate incidents that took place in December, just 2 months before they were found dead inside their $3.3 million Santa Fe compound. Elizabeth and Leslie Hackman have taken matters into their own hands, according to Hollywood insider Bob Shooter. A source told him they have lost faith in the authorities. This doesn't add up. It feels like someone is trying to cover something up, and Gene's daughters will not rest until the truth is revealed. Now, here's a picture of the hairdresser who's making these claims by the dead Mrs. Hackman. Do you believe these allegations or not? I'll put up a poll on my community page. According to the hairdresser, Gene and Betsy were concerned about being followed around town. So it's both of them, allegedly. Christopher told authorities, she mentioned to me that there was a man that had parked outside their gate and followed them on 2 separate occasions. Could this be a person? Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that, everybody. Screen went out. Could this be a photographer, a writer, a blogger? You know, you have weird people out here. People who get a hold of your address, your business, and they follow you. This is what they do. So could this be somebody who was interested in Mr. Hackman or this lady, interested in his career, some nut job, just wanted to wait on these people, follow them around. I don't know. I have no idea. So we're talking about two separate occasions, allegedly, this guy parked outside of their gate. Now, what will the security guy person say? How many people work as security to verify this information? Did they ever call the police on this unidentified guy? Who is this guy? Does he actually exist? Christopher said Arakawa disclosed that the man had a folder full of photos of Hackman and wanted him to sign them. Okay, so see, this is probably a crazed fan. So how old was this guy? Young, old, middle-aged, elderly? Who was this guy? He stated, it didn't sit right with Bessie. She felt watched. Eventually, she confronted the man, telling him he needed to have more respect, Christopher recalled. But that same man later returned on a different day, following the couple to a separate location. In that incident, he tried to offer them a bottle of wine, but they declined. Well, naturally, no one's going to take food from you or a drink from you and don't know you. Two, you've already followed me once, so hell no, I'm not going to take anything from you. So who is this guy? Where is he? Is he a local? Does he live in the area? Did he travel there from out of state? Who is this guy? Where is he? Can it be verified? But that same man later returned, once again, as I said, following the couple a separate time to a separate location, offered wine and they declined. Officials believe the story is simpler than that. After an exhaustive investigation, it appears Arakawa likely passed away February 11th from a rare rodent disease called hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. The classical pianist has spent her last years serving as the primary caretaker for Hackman, who was ravaged by Alzheimer's disease and high blood pressure. It's very likely after she passed, dementia-stricken Hackman could have unknowingly shuffled aimlessly around his house until his eventual death February 17th. So we're talking about 6 days in between the two deaths. She's believed to have passed away before Mr. Gene. Hackman was speculated to have been racked with confusion and despair after his wife's unexpected death. He was likely crying for help during his own final days, according to investigators. Sources added that Superman star's heart pills were found scattered on a counter near Arakawa. The autopsy found Hackman, while hydrated, had no food in his stomach. So he was grabbing water, soda pop, juice, because they said he was hydrated. Very interesting. Meanwhile, Hackman's family is reportedly frustrated by the lack of updates on Gene's toxicology and cell phone records, which remain sealed. They believe crucial answers are being withheld. As one insider shared, there's a reason they brought in private eyes. They think this man who followed them may have been a fan, may not have been a fan, but something darker. And they won't stop digging until they know exactly who was and why he was watching them. K News is the source of this information. Well, I'm not here to bank on any theories. I'm going to lean on what the autopsy showed, because you are dealing with famous people. So although this man was damn near 100 years old, that still doesn't stop a person from being a wacko whack job, okay? You have crazy people who are, still obsessed with even elderly, famous people. You just have people out there who are not level-headed. Person on screen to an actual human being. And you see this a lot, and we've seen over the years, many moons ago, deaths that occurred with famous people. John Lennon, the young girl from the CBS TV show, I can't remember her name, but sadly they were unalived by stalkers, obsessed fans. And possibly that fan who couldn't differentiate the real world from fiction. Because you're going to have to prove that the sinister person, or if you want to say this person was sinister, did something to this couple. And naturally, when you're crazy, you don't need a motive. That's just how most people think. Well, what's the motive? What's the motive? Evilness, of course. But you got to prove that this person was able to get into the home, access this couple, kill them to where it was not noticeable during an autopsy. And the only thing that you can do to people to where it doesn't show up in an autopsy physical wounds, no physical wounds. The only thing left is poison. And the fact that the person's outside the gate should tell you something. If you want to believe this person is involved, they didn't get inside the gate. So how would they have harmed Mr. and Mrs. Hackman? Or any other party? Let's just say any other party. So if they couldn't get in the gate, that leaves somebody that lives in the community. Now, did they leave their doors unlocked? We know Mr. Hackman would, because he's had dementia. So he wouldn't be thinking about locking doors, locking windows. So you got to ask those questions. Windows up, doors open. We did hear that a back door was ajar, or a side entrance was ajar, I believe, to let the dogs out. I'm assuming Mrs. Hackman was aware of her faculties. You have to have somebody to say that she was or was not. I think the coroner came up with what the coroner found. Heart disease, dementia for Mr. Hackman, and this hantavirus for Mrs. Betsy. And somebody would have to go in and say, well, we want the bodies to be tested, toxicology for the hair. That's where you will find poisons, toxins, is in the hair. So will these daughter's son ask medical examiner to test their hair to see if they were poisoned? Now, next issue. There has not been a funeral arranged for these said people, and we're now a month or so later, month and a half later. Will they bury these individuals, parents, stepmother? Because we're talking about a little while since these people passed away and were discovered. Are they going to bury them? So if they believe there's foul play, I'm assuming that's their reason for not burying them. At first, I said, well, maybe they didn't want to bury them because they weren't left anything. And actually, it costs to bury people. Unless you're going to have them cremated, that's the cheaper route, but it still costs. It's not free. So is this the reason why they're not burying Mr. and Mrs. Hackman, the daughters, the son? It's because they want maybe more toxicology reports done, and or waiting on the ones to come from the medical examiner. I'm praying that when the reports come back that there is no foul play, because there'll just be more nonsense theories of who did it. And some will think, oh, it must be the kids. They're the ones who have the most to gain. Although they were left in the estate, they weren't put in a legal will, but they know that 9 times out of 10, the courts will give them the parents' worldly goods. And there we have it. And there we have it. I'm also going to put up a short pertaining to this, and also Miss Yolanda, who killed Selena Perez 30 years ago. And I want you all to tell me what you think about her coming up for parole, and she was denied parole, okay? 5 years from now, she will come back up for parole. Do you all think she should be free? I got it on my community page. Matter of fact, while I'm live, I'll go ahead and post that information. I'll read you the results. Should she be free? Miss Yolanda. Should she be free? 1 second, everybody. Hello, Gigi. How are you? Good to see you. Trying to find my community page. It's so difficult on this device I'm on. Let me see. I don't know how to find it. It's the worst thing. Oh, Lordy. Always begging. What I told you all, loud, where everybody in my live stream can hear, background. Just no respect. That's why I shut my door. Because once I saw that brother was here, I said, hey, we are not about to have that repeat of yesterday. Begging and shit. Okay, I'm going to put up a poll pertaining to Mr. Hackman. And you all can take the poll. So one thing I hate about apartment living around people that just, it's either them or their company, always in shit, big and bum and all that. Nobody wants to be bothered with all that. Don't even live here. You're not getting nothing out of here, like I said yesterday. That was a fluke yesterday. Not giving up nothing. Excuse my manners. I finished watching a good movie today on Tubi. I forgot the name of it already, but I'm going to share it to the community page for the Saturday movie. For the Sunday movie. Now, what's wrong? I don't know. Oh, oh, Lord, I'm on the wrong line. Sorry about that. So let me cancel that. Hey, everybody. Sorry. I'm trying to pull up. I can't. When something throws me off, I can't think straight. Let's see. For some reason, I'm having a problem typing this out. Okay, I'm there. Take the poll. And give you some options. Yes, no. I'll give you 4. Yes, no, not sure, I doubt it. Okay. Now we're going to go to Yolanda Saldivar. I don't want to make sure I pronounced her name correctly. She came off of parole pertaining to the death of Selena Perez, who was murdered back in 1995. Did the judge render the right decision to not grant her parole? I'm going to go through my community page and pull up. Lord, I'm having the hardest time. The screen won't stay on for some reason. Take my polls also pertaining to OJ Simpson, Mr. Mark FURMAN. I'll go back and read those results. Should Yolanda Saldivar be free? 75 people voted. 1% said yes. Wow, who's that person? 93% no, 4% not sure, and then 1% maybe the next parole in 5 years. Wow, wow, wow. So 93% of you say no, she should not be free. Once again, I said, I wonder if the insurance company will pay Dirty Connecticut stepmom a payout for burned home. 7% said yes, 24% said no, 2% not sure, 67% said they shouldn't. One person had commented saying they don't pay if you or anyone in your home burn the home down. So I don't know Connecticut law. The situation is different, although the woman didn't set it herself, but the boy who lived there, he set the house on fire to try to free himself. And as I said, he is lucky to be alive. He could have died setting that room on fire. But hey, desperate people do desperate things. You're trying to get out of there, you want freedom? He set that damn room on fire. And by the grace of God, he's alive. And they say he's very smart and has a sense of humor. So God bless his soul. I'm praying for his journey. I don't know if he wants to rekindle a relationship with his bio mother and sister. We will see what happens. I'll bring you an update when I get an update pertaining to that information. Did Mark Furman's derogatory words and opinions about Black people sway the jury to vote not guilty in the OJ Simpson trial? 43 people voted, 77% yes, 14% no, 9% not sure. Please check out my videos pertaining to Brian Korberger and this mask. He purchased it in January of 2022. As I said, we need more information to when he came across the girls on social media or however he first laid eyes on them, tied into the purchase of the mask and the purchase of the knife, the sheath, and knife sharpener, which was in March. Hello, Lalo. Thank you so much. How are you, honey? That's what I got, everybody. Hold on one second. Let me go check this screen, and I'll give you all a movie for today, for those of you who are staying in this afternoon. Because I had forgot the name just that fast. 1 second. Next-Door Neighbor. That's the name of the movie. It's a Black film, filmed in Chicago. The setting is Chicago. And it's a very good movie of a man and woman engaged to be married. And the ex-wife pops up back on the scene. And she is quite intrusive into the lives of this man and his fiance. And it is a good movie, let me tell you. So please check it out. Next-Door Neighbor. I will put that up as a Sunday movie to watch after this live stream. Hope you all are well. I wanted to talk about OJ Simpson yesterday, but I know that's a dicey subject. But I watched the Court TV's rendering of the case, and it was a very good case where they interviewed Mr. Mark Furman, and I feel like Mr. Furman is still in denial about the role he played in the OJ Simpson trial. And I believe the reason why people voted for OJ Simpson as not guilty is because, one, the jury members were disgusted with each other, tired of, delegating back and forth. We learned this in a documentary that was on, I think, CNN or ESPN years ago. The people were fed up with each other. They were fed up with each other. They were fighting, cussing. They just showing out. And that's something a lot of people didn't know from behind the scenes. And also, once the jury members got a hold of that audio tape that lady revealed, 3 different white women testifying that Mark Furman had, a nasty attitude, arrogant attitude. You understand what I'm saying? And you can see there were no Black people that testified to say, oh yeah, he's a great guy, blah, 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 because naturally he didn't like Black people. So I think anybody with logical thinking, Mr. Goldman doesn't agree, but anybody with logical thinking, if you hear a person using the N-word 40 times on an audio describing your work as a police officer, you're talking about burning them up, gathering up Black people and killing them and burning them, kicking them, using them as, how did he word it? Practice. He also even talked about fellow Black police officers. The division that he worked in, they were all NIGGERs. That just goes to show you he did not like Black people. So if I was person on the jury, and I heard all this conversation in an audio where he's talking bad about black people, killing black people, even talking bad about his own fellow officers, why wouldn't I think this person wouldn't plant a glove? Just like a few people said in the documentary. Even if Mark Fuhrman didn't plant the glove, you still can't be trusted. So the fact that he even considered himself a good cop, a good detective, he said, oh, that's the only thing I did wrong. I was a good detective. You're not a good detective because you're biased. So it doesn't matter if you didn't like Mexicans, Indians, Jews, foreigners. You can't be a good detective if you're going to work biased. You're going to work angry at people that haven't done anything to you. Okay? You're angry even before your feet. And I don't care what your profession is. Cop, judge, court clerk, Costco cashier, Walmart manager, it's all the same. You're bitter. And one thing we've learned about bitter people, if you're bitter about one thing, you're bitter about something else. So even his wife asked him, why are you going to talk to these people about OJ Simpson again? He's like, well, they're assuming this, let them hear it from me. There was no mention of remorse for what he said. All he said is he made some mistakes. But the clincher of it is when he was on the witness stand, the jury didn't hear this, but it was said in court, he was going to plead the fifth to any questions asked. So when asked, did he plant a glove or any evidence in the OJ Simpson trial? He said, I plead the fifth. Why would you do that if you know you didn't plant anything? So see, that's telling to me. Now, I think he said that because he knew the audio was played of him using the N-word 40 times. So he figured, well, I ain't going to talk about nothing else and I ain't going to answer nothing else. But that's a fool's thinking. That's a fool's thinking. Like even the ex-chief of police or whomever who was interviewed said, you should have said no when asked the question. Did you plant any evidence? You should have said, no, I did not. Yes, I know what I said was derogatory about black people, but no, I would never plant evidence. So just like one of the juror members who was interviewed, an older black man, he said, why would I not think he wouldn't plant evidence? Of course I would think that he would. You're just sitting here admitting you don't like black people. Every word is in. And then somebody had the nerve to say, well, maybe he was trying to put on for the lady who was interviewing him for the audio. What sense would that make? So you want to be a racist to prove what point? Out of fun? Does that make any sense? Why would that make her look at you in a better light? And you could tell each person that testified, these three white women, they were disgusted. The lady who made the audio, she was disgusted. Another white lady that got up on the panel, on the testimony box, she was in tears before she even got to the box. She was crying walking up to the box. So that told you a lot how these people felt at the time in their short dealings with Mark Fuhrman. He had a superior attitude. Even an ex-black cop said that. That was his demeanor. He said, now he never got right with me or, did anything, out of pocket to me visibly, but you could tell he had a superior attitude about himself. And he's like a lot of people. He thinks very highly of himself. Even now, today, with this latest 40-minute compilation or whatever you want to call it, interview with him and other people that were involved in the trial, Mark Fuhrman is the same man he was 30-something years ago. He has no remorse. He is a racist. He don't make no apology for it because he deflected even in this short interview. He takes no responsibility for what he said in that audio and his attitude towards African-American people, which I'm the type I could care less because Mark Fuhrman to me is nobody. That's how I look at life. And to me, he's no different than OJ. If I'm to believe OJ Simpson killed this couple, which I think he did. But at the time, I was on the fence. I was a younger person. I feel like I still have a similar mindset There were things that I thought was suspicious and pointed to OJ. You know, the blood in the car, on the door handle, the glove at the house. Okay? The blood on the sock that was found in his bedroom. Yes. The DNA matched OJ Simpson. But when you heard the Mark Furman, as Mr. Goldman said, and a lot of other people said, everybody focused on that. But why wouldn't they? It's not to take away from the murders of Nicole and Ron, by no means. But this happens in many trials, that when there's a smoking gun, a very highly suspicious situation or circumstance, that's what the state or the defense will beat with a whip. And that's what they did here. The glove, oh, it didn't fit. Naturally, it's going to shrink. Of course, it was wet, soil. And yes, 15 cops were on the scene before Mark Furman got there. But the point is, he was the lead investigator. He had access to the evidence. And as I said, I'm not saying he planted the glove. What I'm saying is his feelings toward African-American people would lead any sane person to think this man could have planted evidence. He may not have planted it, but your attitude would lead a person to think you are capable of planning. Why not? You're already saying, hey, we kick them around for play, for practice. These black folks over here in this certain area. Nigger, 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 mentioned 40 times in an audio describing his work as a police officer. And I'm supposed to be a sane person and say, oh yeah, this white cop wouldn't plant evidence. Of course he would. To get that black person, that in person convicted, hell yeah, he would plant evidence. Hell yeah, he would lie. Hell yeah, he would nudge a person to say something different than what they saw or heard. He would do that. He would do that. And that's what he should have said when he was in court. When asked by the defense attorney, did you plant any evidence? What fool would say, I take the fifth? You know you didn't plant any evidence, you should have said that. Whether they think bad of you or not as a human being, this is your livelihood. So like the cops even said, he did it to himself. And in the end, he really still don't want to take any responsibility that he said all those things on that audio. And that's what Mark Furman needs to understand. You said those things. Nobody knew that's how you actually felt in that courtroom, except for people who know you personally. Now, you probably called everybody N-words to all your little white friends. But that day in court, nobody knew Mark Furman. Nobody knew you were that type of human being. So if you're mad at anybody, you have nobody to be mad at but yourself, because you should have never said those things to that lady on that audio. You could have described your work without calling people the N-word 40 times. Because what do those black people have to do with, what do black people have to do with your work as a cop? You have all type of people that are bad, wayward, destructive. All type of foreigners live in California. So no way your work was just about black people. Now, maybe you worked in an area that was predominantly black, Hispanic, but the point is, it's like anything. Just because you're dealing with a bunch of wayward people, it doesn't mean that all black people, Hispanic, Asian, are the same. And hell, even Ito knew that. He was an Asian judge up there presiding. And he let, the two relevant things entered in as for the defense pertaining to the audio. They said some of the things weren't entered in, but the point is the jury heard enough. They heard enough. And I'm sure there were people who wanted to vote OJ Simpson guilty. And they probably just said, okay, we'll turn the other cheek and just go on and weigh guilty, be done with it. And that's that. That's that. So Gigi says he would do that, pleading the fifth, says you did. Yeah, that's what I thought. And that's the point everybody was trying to make. Mr. Ron Goldman, he can't see that because His son is dead, so he can't see. He's got blinders on. He can't see anything past that. He felt like, oh, that was a whole case. Well, that's the whole point. That's what people don't understand. It's certain things like that that will sway a jury. Negative. You can't get mad at what was discovered, because in the end, Mark Furman didn't have to say those things. Okay? Mark Furman didn't have to say those things. OJ could have been found guilty. But when that was entered in as evidence, how are you going to get mad at what your own words were? You said those nasty things. Nobody pointed a gun to you and told you to tell that white lady all that stuff in an audio. And she did the right thing by showing it. Because I felt like yesterday when I listened to that court TV segment, first thing I said to myself was God wanted the truth to come out about a dirty cop. Although it was about Ron and Nicole, this did overshadow it. But God wanted the truth to be told about the police department, that these people are wayward, they're racist, they're abusive. God wanted the truth. He wanted the truth out. He said, I'll handle OJ on my time. Because God already knew what the verdict was going to be. But God said, I'm going to handle OJ my way. Don't y'all worry about that. And although the few years he got for the robbery naturally don't suffice to what he did to the two people. Of course not. Two separate trials. The burglary charge in Vegas versus the murders of Ron and Nicole. But God got this. He got this. And that's what people don't understand about justice. It ain't always right, because everything's about perception. There's still people who still believe OJ didn't do that. But OJ's behavior afterwards made a person think something ain't right. Especially with the book, If I Did It. No sane person would write a book like that. You'd want to be done with that. You'll never write a book, If I Did It. Because that's a fool's way. You didn't do it, so why are you going to write a book, If I Did It? So that led me to believe, okay, OJ, now look at here. Did you kill this young couple, these people? Because it's looking like you did, and now you're gloating about it. So it was a few years ago, not even maybe 2 years, I started thinking about OJ Simpson and different, the books and different people coming out talking, people that knew him. And I told myself, Queen, you know in your heart, after careful observation 30 years later, OJ did that. And naturally, I didn't want to believe that he did that. You understand what I'm saying? Nobody wants to believe a man would kill his wife, do anything to him. And she was living her own separate life, so he should have left that alone. But he was still obsessed with her. He wanted to be the victor. He wanted to be right. And a lot of people are like OJ. They can't accept that the person that's moved on don't want him no more. He didn't want Nicole. He just didn't want her to be with anybody else. That's why you heard all that crazy talk about drug usage and her having sex in a living room. All type of crazy stuff. That's her business. Now, naturally, no, I wouldn't leave my curtains open to have sex with a man. Also, my children upstairs, yeah, that's a bad look. But people do foolish things when they have children. People do foolish things when they're single. But they don't deserve to be murdered. And the scene was graphic. You're talking about blood just running up and down an entire sidewalk. It's horrific. She slumped over, face down, Ron's in the bushes. They show the picture. One glove was there, no other glove, allegedly. So you're entitled to believe what you want. You're entitled to believe OJ did it. You're entitled to believe evidence was planted, removed. But the point is, Mark Furman to me is still the same. That's my point. He's still the same. He has no remorse for his comments about black people. He don't care about black people. And I don't think he's the type that would care about anybody. Because I've seen people like this. They're bitter, period. If you look back in life of people who get mad at the government, they get mad at Asian people, they're mad at the Jews, the blacks, they're mad at the Mexicans, they're mad at the Latinos, they're just mad, period. They're mad as soon as they get up. Shit ain't been right, fair to them, so they're angry. And I get it, I have my days. I've been having them recently where everything looks black to me. You understand what I'm saying? Everything is just grim. Just because I'm going through personal things to where I'm getting easily frustrated. So everything bothers me. And that happens when you're stressed and you're going through stuff, or you've had traumatic things happen in your life, or you're going through something traumatic. You don't focus on, you know what I'm saying? How can I word it? You just Like I just said, you have tunnel vision. Nothing else matters to you at that time. Because you can't focus on Pookie, Ray, Bubba, Shamiqua, what they're doing, what they're talking about. You don't care. It's all about you. And sadly, a lot of people, this is how they actually live. You know, they don't come out the fog. They're just tunnel vision. It's me, my way, my world, my thinking, my thought process. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. That's Mark Furman. And the fact that he's married to a whole human, that's scary. Because I wouldn't want to be married to a man that thought like that. Because I keep trying to tell you, this is a bitter human. And if you can be bitter toward blacks, you can be bitter towards me. If you're waking up every day mad at a black person and your foot hasn't even touched the floor, you got a problem. You living a whole life that don't even include black people, but yet you're angry at them, those. So that means you can't even live. You're spitting up coffee because, oh, I don't like black people. They're doing this, they're like this, they do this. We all do weird shit because we're human, okay? There's lots of things that every race does that another race don't do or do. And I'm gonna give you for instance, and I'm gonna check out of here. I had a landlord many years ago, he was a white man. And he had asked me a question one day. We were on my porch talking, and he says, I don't mean to be disrespectful. He says, but why do black people like to gather outside in front of their houses or apartments? I said, the same reasons you all like to gather in parking lots at night and sit on your cars. And he shut the hell up. That's a stupid question to ask. Why do black people like to gather outside? The same like to gather in parking lots on their cars. White people have been doing it for years. They've been doing it since what, the 50s. Kids parking their car at the soda pop pharmacy or whatever, vacant parking lots, store parking lots, and they all gather there with their little hot rods in their cars, and they sit on the cars and they talk. So how's that different than black people sitting on the front porch, sitting in front of a stoop? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. And people still do it. Because that's just their way of life. You're in the inner city, you have a stoop, you have stairs, it's a warm day, it's pretty, you want to sit outside, get some fresh air, you sit on your stoop. So somebody in the city sitting on the stoop is no different than somebody in the South sitting on the front porch, rocking in a rocking chair. How's it different? It's the same. You sitting out in front of your trailer in a lawn chair, it's the same. It's the same. People gather when it's warm. That's just what humans do. Basketball court, park bench, parking lot, stoop, the corner store, it's all the same. I go places right now, I see more white people hanging out in front of stores than I see black people. Because right now I live in a transient city. This city is filled with homeless people, transient people. So in the area I live is predominantly white. And it's considered one of the best sides of town to live on. But you can't tell when you walk outside because the transient people are everywhere. They're walking up and down the street, they're sitting at the bus stop, they're riding the bus, they're hanging in front of the stores. They're everywhere. And I'm hearing it on every side of town. Everywhere. I can go on any side of town right now and bump into transient people hanging out in front of the stores, sitting in the lawn chairs in front of the grocery store. Do you see where I'm going with this? Because life is different now. This is a homeless camp, this city I'm in. You can't dodge the transient people. They're walking around with buggies, backpacks, 7, 8 bags, carrying them. And you're just looking like, dear God, what is going on? Because the world is different now. Finances, mindsets, mental illness, whatever you want to call it, everything's different. More people are sick, ill. A lot of people don't really want a place to live. And we'll talk about that subject this week. We'll talk about the homeless situation. I'll do a video about that. I might do a video about that tomorrow. But I want to throw in this OJ Simpson situation with Mark Furman because I wanted to air my opinion and be done with it. I don't feel like Mr. Furman cares about anything. I think he's still the same. And to me, hey, that's his world. Mark Furman, like they say, what he eat don't make me fat. I listened to the commentary. It was a good commentary by Court TV. Please check it out. You're entitled to believe whatever you want to believe about Mark Furman, OJ, Marsha Clark, all of them. But like somebody said, they should have never put Mark Furman on the witness stand. And like somebody said, you didn't vet him good enough. Because had you vetted him and learned anything about him, you probably would have heard some things that weren't so nice about Mark Furman. But if he didn't have any write-ups, they just ran with it. And that's another thing I'm curious about. Did Mark Furman have any write-ups by foreign people, black people, excessive abuse, derogatory language towards the citizens of Los Angeles? Very curious. But I watched him in that documentary yesterday and I just shook my head. I said, this man, like cotton. He's just fluff, stuffing. He ain't got nothing of value. He didn't have nothing of value 30 years ago. He don't have nothing of value now. The only thing he can say is, oh yeah, I made some mistakes. But he never said once in that documentary, I was wrong. I should have never said those nasty things about black people. He didn't say that in the documentary. Yes, I believe I'm the cause of the not guilty verdict. I should have never said those things to that lady in that audio. He never said that. And he's not going to say it. Gene and Betsy Hackman, the daughters of Mr. Gene, believe there's something up with his death. They've hired a private eye and they married Mr. Gene and Betsy. Why not? Are they waiting on the toxicology reports to come back before putting these people in the casket? Are they going to cremate them? Don't know. But also, I didn't mention this. When I went in to do a little digging, it says that their names have been removed from the unclaimed list. Okay? So I don't really know what that means. If these children have claimed the bodies of the parent, stepmother, whomever, don't know. But they said as of Thursday, first they said on that Thursday their names were still on there, but then after that their names were removed from the list. So what's the truth? Have these daughters and the son claim the bodies of Mr. Gene and his wife? Now, what is weird is that they said one of the daughters said she wanted the dogs buried with the wife, told an officer that, which I think is ridiculous. The officer, that's not his job to officiate funerals and claim bodies and orchestrate the remains of a human. That's not a cop's job. So why would you tell a cop, hey, put the dogs with the wife? What the fuck are you talking about? This is crazy. I really hope that's not true that she said that. That's going to be your job if you claim the bodies of your father. And people are going to really talk bad about you if you only claim the body of your father and don't claim the body of the wife, knowing they were both married, and then you also wanting their money. That'll be some cold SHIT. Oh, you'll never be able to live that down. Oh, we're going to keep that real. If these two women claim their father's body only and don't claim the body of Miss Betsy, but they still go forward trying to get their money, honey, you better hope you get a good judge, because that's the first thing the judge is going to say. Oh, you buried your father, but you didn't bury your stepmother. Why not? But yet you done told the public, oh, she was a nice lady. She was good for him. They had a good marriage, but you didn't claim her body and bury her. Because the article that I just read you said they were worried about his death. But then this video by Radar Online says the family is frustrated by the lack of clear answers amidst the theory suggesting that 95-year-old actor and his wife, Betsy, may have been targeted. So targeted, two people targeted versus word about one's death is... So what's the truth? So I always say you have to be very careful about what you read in videos and also in articles. What's the truth? Okay? What is the truth? What is the truth about this hairdresser who claims Betsy told him she felt like somebody was following her? Is this a true account? Was somebody following them? Did she actually approach somebody at the gate about following her 2 times? The person offered a bottle of wine. First time they offered, wanting Mr. Hackman to sign pictures. What is the truth? And what is going to happen with the estate of the Hackmans? Will these children, 2 daughters and a son, get the estate divided amongst the 3? And will they bury both Jean and Betsy? And also the dogs. That's my commentary. Like, share, subscribe, drop your comments below this video. Take my post. Follow me on the Newsbreak app. I have not put up content over there in a little while, so forgive me. But please check out my shorts and take the polls on my community page, because this gives us an idea, and myself, how you all think about breaking news and stories. And I'd like to hear from you all. And I'm going to go back up here before I check out to see what you all had to say about the Hackman's deaths. Only 11 people voted. 45% believe there is foul play. 36% says no. 18% not sure. And I doubt it, 0%. And I have one person who has commented. Beth Legg says, not sure what really went down, Queen. For some reason, it feels a little weird, but I am going to sit back and listen to you before I speak. Okay. I was like, give your opinion. I'm going to respond. I said, give your opinion, dear. So, if you all think it's foul play, let me know. Take the poll. Comment below this video and comment below the post. All right, everybody, I'm out of here. Once again, today's movie, if you all are sitting in and you're not going anywhere, gotta check it again. My memory is so horrible. Oh my God. I can't remember anything. Ex-Door Neighbor. Free on Tubi. Check it out. Watch it today or this week if you want. I will have a movie of the week up. I'm going to put up a suggestion that somebody in the chat mentioned. It's a movie playing at the theaters right now. So I'll probably post that tomorrow. It's a movie playing at the theaters. So you all can check it out for those of you who like going to the movies still. Or some of you might wait, until it's on a streaming app 3 months from now. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Enjoy your evening, your Sunday evening. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to make me some dinner. And I'll be back. Look out for my shorts. They'll be coming up here in the next few minutes. You have been listening to the Vault XL. Thank you.